What's going on, guys? So today on this Shoky Quickie, we're going to be taking a look at something new-ish from Neca, and I did actually talk about this before, sort of, but it is their new version of Movie 1, Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles. Good lord, I said that wrong. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Splinter. Okay. And of course, if you're a patron, you already saw me doing out the box review for this, so yay. But for the normies, let's take a closer look at him. Alright, guys, so here we have the NECA 6 thereabouts inches version of Splinter from the first TMNT movie. Way back when, TMNT, stupid. And of course, you got him here in his little plastic prison, and it got a little bit dusty in the last few days since I've done the actual opening and stuff like that, so it looks a lot like the previous Turtles stuff. You've got the movie one thing here, you got Nickelodeon logo there, only available at GameStop. True, because the only other reason you got this, or only other way you got this before, was to be at San Diego Comic-Con. So yeah, you got Splinter here, you got his TCRI thing there before they changed it, and you got some Nunchucks, and you have a slice of pizza. Yay for that. And you come over here, you got Splinter, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then another Splinter there. And oh look, more Splinter. So you got Splinter holding pizza, which is weird. You got Splinter holding the canister, cool. And Splinter holding the thing. There's only one caveat to that, is that he only comes with one type of hand, so it might be fudging some stuff there. But let's do his little quick read up here. Now you can catch America's favorite green teens in her first live-action blockbuster film. After wading in a puddle of radioactive waste, these radical reptiles are transformed into New York City's greatest crime. I think the only part here that's going to be different is here, and thanks in part to the training of their skilled sensei, the similarly transformed rat Splinter. His highly detailed action figure is 6.5 inches tall, features 30 points of articulation, including double elbows, double knees, as well as a cloth robe. That's pretty cool. And then you have a NECA handwritten logo there that looks a lot like the old, was it Deke movie logo? Or, yeah, like home video thing. And then images here of the actual turtles from the movie, stuff like that. So, let's go ahead and get him out and see how splintered he really is. And there's Splinter. Alright, so right off the bat, if you guys obviously did not see the out the box reaction review for this guy, I did actually do I did modify him a little bit, and that was to try to gain some articulation, but I'll go over that when I get there. But just initial thoughts, he does look really good, and while he doesn't have real hair, they did a decent job molding it. It does look pretty good. It looks a little bit matted, stuff like that. And then the cloth actual robe here, or gi, or whatever you want to call it, mostly just a robe, is pretty decent. They did a good job of scaling it down. They got the weave pretty tight. It's got some cutout bits. It is dirty. It does remind me of like a Star Wars or Marvel's figure. And then, like, beyond the robe, like, he's weathered and dirty and weird looking. Like, look at these crazy fingers. I'm gonna zoom in on that, hopefully. Just creepy looking, like a super old man or witch type hands. But I guess if you're gonna give a rat a human type hand, that'd be something like that. Now, he is a really scrawny figure, kind of like how you'd expect him to be. It kind of hurts him to some degree. He also does have this nice belt loop here tied in, so don't ever accidentally untie it. It's probably a pain to get it tied back. He does have a tail, which is also painted and stuff like that, and does appear to have wire impregnated in it, so you can hold up some positions, though of course he does have like the relief holes kind of there. You can look at his legs. You got molded hair all the way down, and there went his head. And that actually has less to do with my modification than the way he is out of the box. His head actually came off right out of the box. But you do get his heels down here that are wrapped. They look pretty good. They're dirty from walking around in the sewer forever. And then the creepy little rat toes. Yeah, zoom in on that. Ugh. And then there you go. There's a headless rat Splinter. Now this is the modification I made, just kind of hollowing that out a little bit to try to give the neck some more articulation. But since we're already here, let's talk about it. So he does just have a double ball jointed neck. So it's just double ball joint on a peg like that. Now this part here also moves, but that's not part of the problem. This is mostly to do with the fact that this ball joint doesn't 100% sit in there. So that right there is clicked in. Now that's straight in, and he does look up. Unfortunately, to get him to look forward, like a normal character, like that, his head is now, or the ball joint is now just sitting right there. The reason I carved that clearance was so that it could look down without wanting to pry out 100% of the time. Like, this is a pretty secure connection here. And if you want, you can try to tuck that way down. Alternatively, you could probably cut out, I did a little bit here, you can probably gouge out a lot more below the chin here, and that might actually get you somewhere. So, like, that is set in place about as good as he can get. But, like I said, it looks really good. Now, if we zoom in, like, on the eyes, they are painted pretty nicely. The one I had in hand first did not have good eyes. This one was, like, all googly and off to this way, and this was like that. And then you see, like, the painted fade in the hair, kind of dirt on the nose, his scarred ear from the shredder, and then his little chinny chin hairs, and then the lower neck hairs and stuff like that. His body is totally molded from what I can tell. So if you are wanting to be that creepy, you could take the robes off. Be a pain in the butt, but you can get them off. In fact, these strings are kind of a pain. But the fact that they bothered to paint all the way through, there you go, is pretty cool. But let's talk articulation real quick. Obviously, there's that. And then this section can move down and then up like that. Probably another double ball joint. But it's just, everything needs to be a bit more secure than it currently is. I personally think that if this was a double ball joint on a J-shaped thing, it would work out a little bit better. I hope someday somebody will make a thing to fix that. Because you can see here, like, if I can get him like that, he's standing tall and proud. But that's fine. Of course, the head does rotate, but then it pops off anyways. This part does rotate here. Just be careful. Now, his shoulders move. So he does have a shoulder joint. And it is a disc hinge, because you can see it, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. It's just the top of the shoulder like that. But the shoulder rotates, but it doesn't feel like it goes up and down. Maybe I'm wrong. It is just held in that position. Now, the thing does claim that he has a double jointed elbow, and I guess that's about as good as it can get. You can have him sort of stroking his beard like that. And there's obviously some elbow rotation. I think it's right above the elbow. Don't think there's any forearm stuff. By the way, he does have some pretty scrawny looking dead forearm. Just don't look at it too close. It won't bother you as much. But you can get pensive Splinter. That's pretty cool. But he can't straighten out his arms 100%. They are kind of molded to that being their extreme, at least from what I can feel. And if you know anything about Neca figures, don't force them to do anything they don't want to do. If there is a double jointed elbow, I can't access the other joint here. Let me see. It says double jointed. That means there should be one above and one below, but I'm not getting anything of below. So then the wrist is just probably what is a ball joint in there, and then a little bit of wrist action back and forth. Once again, always be careful. He does have waist rotation. I don't think there's an ab crunch there. Oh, I was wrong. Okay, so he does have an ab crunch along with the neck crunch. That's pretty cool. I guess you could just glue the head in place, like once you got it in a spot that you really want to. Let's not go with full creeper. Let's not go with full creeper Splinter here. Let's go this way right here. Okay, now his legs. Ah, dang it. I avoided creeper Splinter anyways. Okay, so legs are sort of molded in a permanent bend, as you can see. While he has a knee joint, once again, they claim double knee joint. This is a single joint here, and also the thigh rotation, so to speak. But also his hip moves up here, so he can go in and out. At least one click. I don't know about more, to be totally honest with you. And it does rotate up there. So he has upper thigh and then above the knee rotation. And that's as straight as you can get his leg. However, I think one thing they're including in knee articulation is this. So they normally have kind of a digigrade situation going on and kind of a small paw situation. And if you want to do that, you can. In fact, I was trying to maximize that particular position. However, this joint has such a loose fit, it doesn't work out too well. And that does rotate as well. So you can try to get him into some very upright poses, so to speak. So if you try to get that like so, like up on tippy toes and make him a little taller, but it just doesn't work. Even with the tail propping him, it's just, out of the box, it was tight enough, but with no ankle tilt, it's just, you're kind of at a loss. And with that permanent knee bend, it just wants everything to bend with it. So, and plus having the long skinny legs is just sort of disturbing. But if you want, you can get him to like really crouch down pretty decent. Something like that. So if you want to sit and teach his sons, you might be able to do that. By the way, the tail does rotate, so you can kind of get it off to the side if you want. I do have a split happening up there, it looks like. I would have liked to have a big hinge right up here at the base of the tail. I think that would have been cool, because if you wanted him to be sitting cross-legged to talk to the turtles, it's a little difficult. Let's see here. Let's get the hips out. Like so. And then just kind of cross the feet. Because you just can't, unless the tail bends higher up than I think it does. It's funny, he has a tail and is ever present, but you almost never notice it. I was going to say, if it's a lot like the Bay-ish version of Splinter, he like keeps his tail kind of hidden or wrapped around him or something, like a Saiyan. But yeah, he can't, unless you sit him on something. So, like the version that comes in the SDCC set has a box that he's actually standing on when he's being tortured and being held prisoner by the Shredder and the Foot Clan. It also comes with the chains and stuff like that. Yeah, I'll bring it up here on the screen. So that would have been an awesome set to get for that reason. And because I wouldn't mind having a version of that. Let's see, I need something for him to sit on. Let's try this. Not quite tall enough. I need something to really get up under his butt. Still not quite with the tail, but I'm getting there. Get a good enough crate for him to sit on, it would be good. Let's see, tilt the legs up a little bit more so he'll sit more evenly. But either way, so there's a Splinter ready to tail the tail. It's always a good pun. Now let's look over his accessories. Let's scooch him to the back just real quick. Look at all the crud that came off of him. And we've got the TCRI canister. And this is the cracked one. It just says radioactive materials, has the warning things, nuclear emblems. I don't know if it's a mold issue. Oh, that just completely comes off. So it'd be kind of funny if there was some ooze laying around. Doesn't look like it goes on in any particular direction. It's just a bad mold. So there's that. TCRI, which gets changed to TGRI. And that is warning hazardous materials. The big old crack. I think that was part of the promotional material at 1.2. I think that's funny. And let's see. It shows him holding this. His hands, unless these fingers are... Wait, are his fingers posable? Hold on. Because I was gonna just say that, frankly, he can't hold anything properly. Yeah, he's not exactly gripping it, but it's sitting there in his hand. I mean, like, doing it that way, he can hold it for sure. How's he doing on the box? Okay, so in the box, he's holding it between both hands. Crazy mutant rat with a head that won't stay on. Okay, so, I mean, they got him doing this number somehow between his hands. And as far as I know, there's not like a quarter scale version. It's just this one. There's a quarter scale shredder, but there's no quarter scale splinter. So all the promotional images should be of this particular figure, not of one that is in the wrong scale to sell you on something else. So he can hold that, but you do have to kind of use both hands. So that's actually pretty cool. I didn't think you could. And then you have the piece of pizza, which is probably the exact same mold that we've gotten before. And you can do the plopped on his head scene. I'm going to bring this camera up ever so slightly so I can look down upon all of this. And then you have his nunchucks that he uses at the end of the movie. Now, one thing that's different about this to the ones we got initially, that's not a string, that's a wire. So that actually is pretty good. Now, these look identical to the ones that Mikey uses, which makes sense because I'm pretty sure that's what he has them from. However, I don't know how he's supposed to hold these once again because it's just not going to fit in his hands. I guess if I cram them between the thumb and the fingers, maybe. I kind of wish now that they had actually like just put some metal wire in the fingies. Because yeah, there's no way that's going to work. I mean, like ever so lightly. Like, once again, I'm not going to claim that he's gripping it in any way. Like, let me get that a little tighter. So I can really cram it in here. I guess. It does look like he's holding kind of a stick of dynamite. Like, the fingers are just kind of pointless. Like, I don't know. They give you swappable hands with every other figure in this line. I guess because his wrist peg is so small, they didn't want to risk it. I can kind of appreciate that because obviously they know their own build quality is garbage. You know, they can paint a figure to look really good. They'll even give you some good soft goods. They'll give you a ton of accessories. But their figures, if they do stand, are great. And if you do get them to pose without breaking them, even better. Which is, of course, my biggest concern with this. Because, I mean, right out of the box, his head doesn't stay on. And, I mean, that was before my fiddling with it and, you know, trying to cut the thing. And then, once again, you do need the tail to really prop him up. But he does look good. Time for some comparison, because this is getting really long. So, of course, the obvious comparison. Bring in Obi-Wan Kenobi, who just wants to cut down the big rat. And then, figure we looked at before, Leonardo. Tricked you on that one. Donatello. Michelangelo. I have to tweak ever so slightly now. Ever since I did that stand review and I slightly moved his leg, I've had issues. There we go. And last, definitely not least, Raphael. So there he is with all his boys. And looks really good. And I guess compared to them, yeah, he does really look good. Like, he does fit in with these movie figures. These are done so impeccably, it's kind of absurd. So yeah, to give Splinter about as close as you can get without, you know, how do you make a big fake looking rat puppet look like something real and then make it look like a toy? It gets a little bit difficult, but I think he's pretty solid, with the exception of that neck joint. But like I said, with what's going on here with all these guys, I wouldn't mind a small crate or a chair or something for him to be sitting on, to give the lessons to the turtles. But he's pretty good. And if you pick him up at GameStop, he's definitely worth the $25. He's of course smaller than the rest of, well, all of them, but he's pretty neat. And frankly, compared to the prices people are charging for the whole Comic-Con set, definitely worth snagging. Now, of course, the initial runs are gone, but hopefully you can pick them up. Elsewise, try the website. If you don't find them in stores, keep shopping around. I know my local one actually had, like, the one I go to all the time had almost nothing but Splinter. Didn't even have any shredders, so I go to another store and they had shredder. And no Splinters, which I thought was funny. And then I go to another store that primarily has the Foot Clan. So, of course, now I've just spelled out what the next few reviews are going to be. So, but guys, give me a big old thumbs up if you love this movie, if you love this character. If you've had any of the similar issues I've had with this, let me know in the comments down below. And, of course, come back next time as we look at another figure from this line. Probably going to be a big Shredderino. Yep. But I'll see you guys then. And remember, as always, keep on loving being a turtle.